Welcome to Shepherd's Coffee Talk. I'm Marlene Shepherd. Kathie Donovan and I have a very special topic. We're going to talk sex.
Do we dare say it's all about sexy talk today? And I know you're intrigued. And
But we're going to keep it family style.
Can't wait to
here.
share with you, but it's not what you think. Diane Merpaw is with us today. She's an expert in the field of sexual wellness. She's a sexual wellness coach. And I've met Diane before and had a conversation with her about this very subject. You know, the meaning of sex changes throughout our life. I think you all know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's the first thing you think about. And sometimes it's the last thing you want.
Or sometimes you don't even think about it.
Or sometimes it's not even on your radar. So, you know, because our needs change over time, ultimately I think we have to examine what the context is for sex in our lives. And for me, it is all about intimacy. This is really the issue we're discussing, is intimacy, and how the definition of that changes over time too.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes we don't want intimacy, especially when we're young, we're like carefree. We get to another point in life, we want to feel connected to another human. This is what we're put on earth to do, is to feel connected to others. So this subject of intimacy becomes a really interesting one for women of a certain age, when things change in a dramatic way on the sexual front. And so today we want to talk a little bit about intimacy, how we can sort of get intimate with ourselves again, how we can connect with this idea of pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure inside and outside the bedroom.
Right?
Right? And if it's not happening inside the bedroom, that's okay too. Maybe it's happening elsewhere.
Right.
But pleasure, for me, it's really about helping women reclaim pleasure.
So what does that mean for you, Diane? Can you define what pleasure means in your world?
I'm still exploring that for myself, right? But it's really about what brings me joy and being present to the moment and allowing myself to really feel all of that. And then what I'm finding is that the more that I allow myself to do that, the more that it fuels my radiance. Yeah. And we're all radiant beings, right? And when we fuel our radiance, that's just like this light beaming from the inside out.
So give us some examples of what would fuel your radiance and how you help other people to fuel theirs.
One of the things that fuels my radiance is art, actually painting, and painting from an intuitive perspective. So many people, when you hear creativity and art, they think they need to know how to paint, right? But I help them. Actually, it's one of the things I do is offer women painting workshops, retreats, where they tap in and get to know their own information. And then it's pleasure, because it's just one of those things. I just love getting lost with my hands in the paint.
That feels good, right?
Intuitively just letting my hands so it's not always paintbrush, actually invite them and I'll put some music on and we get lost in that music as well. Music is another thing as well, dancing in the kitchen.
Right. Yeah, simple things like that.
Simple things, really, music, you know, certainly if you're having a rough day or not even, you know, or you've just, you know, just not feeling great, put on some of your favorite tunes that pick you up, and whether you can move to it or not, it will still shift, and that brings me a whole lot of pleasure.
Yeah, good point.
That way.
How about hugging?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, but there are people who don't like hugs.
That's true too.
There are people who don't like to be
joy
touched.
for them is something else,
That's
right? And you know, I was in a situation recently where somebody was a hugger and she came around to all of us in this group and said, I'm going to give you a hug, I'm going to give you a hug. And she said, I should have asked you before because I've met people who don't appreciate that and it's awkward and uncomfortable for them. So really, it points to this idea that we are all different and there's no judgment around what brings you joy, what makes you feel pleasureful, what makes you...
It's really different for everyone.
Yeah.
Like I was driving back from Connecticut on Monday, and we were just meandering in the Adirondacks on the way home, and the car spontaneously wanted to take a turn, and there was this bakery in some little U.S. town, and then we just walk in, and it was just this mom and pop's operation, right? But they had like all kinds of really great little desserts, like homemade pies and donuts, and so we grabbed donuts, and I was just so excited. And actually on my trip to Connecticut, we stopped, and there was this place in Lake George, actually. We were stopping on the way home, and there was a carousel. And carousels are my favorite thing, and it doesn't matter where I am, I will stop and actually get on the carousel. And the gal that I was with kind of called me, what are you doing? Like, you're crazy, and this is for kids. And I'm going, I'm a big kid, and that brings me so much joy just to sit there and giggle and just allow myself to be on there. So it's really about finding those things of pleasure, all those little tiny things, and it doesn't have to be some extravagant thing. If you like a good glass of white or red wine on the deck, in the summertime and it's your garden or watching the water, that brings me tremendous joy.
So bringing it back to sex.
Yes, of course.
What you're saying then is to be able to feel good about yourself and to feel the beauty within you come out. That is what helps you feel
sexy.
Sexy.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
It fuels your inner radiance, it fuels your inner beauty, and all of those things are like, for me, I consider them like a magnet. And then you're putting it out there, so if you're sharing your life with your partner, you know, you feel more confident, you feel better and at ease in your body. One of the top sexual concerns that I hear over and over again, and it's well documented as well in studies, is that women often feel uncomfortable in their own bodies, even if they've been with someone over a really long time. And so, and that you know, sex is just not a physical thing. For me, it's a holistic thing. Is what's going on in your mind, what's going on with your heart, what's going on with spirit, what's going on. If there's technically nothing physically going on with your body and you're still not feeling it, is you have to take a look at all of those, because it's all of it. It's not just, you're not just this body.
Right.
The body's one thing.
And we want to take the pressure, at least I do, I want to take the pressure off of women when it comes to this concept of performance, which so many women, like they see from outside themselves what they think they should be doing and they're not doing it, or they're not getting it, or they don't feel, you know, enough already. What is it for you? What makes you feel good? And whether the shop is open or closed is your decision. There's no wrong answer here. But what I want for women is to feel good about themselves. So if it's that glass of wine, if it's watching a waterfall, if it's being with your grandchildren or your children, that brings you joy and makes you feel good. Do more of that, ultimately, because we want to feel as much as we can that we are important and we matter. And I think when we're talking about what Diane sees in her practice, women don't feel that. They don't feel they're important and they matter. They don't feel in touch with themselves, so it causes some problems.
And it's using your voice.
Right.
Right? Especially when you're having an intimate exchange sexually. Ask for what it is that you want. Many times we feel that we cannot ask for whatever reasons there are. There's so many of them, and we can have many shows on that. It would be, you know, but learn to ask and learn to direct traffic if you need to, right? And a part of that means that you have to be in touch with who you are and know what brings you pleasure. Right. And if you've chosen to close up shop, there is no judgment, but perhaps it's about holding your lover's hand. Yeah. Right? And exchanging intimacy. Intimacy, the expression of intercourse or making love is really just one expression of intimacy. Right? I experience intimacy, this is intimacy, right? Having these deep conversations with sisters and being able to chat about whatever that may be, whatever topic's showing up. So how do you continue to create those intimate moments where you can actually, for me, it's really about, let me see your heart. Yep. Are you willing to open up and let me see your heart and share? And so the more that we're willing to do that, that is actually a really deep level of intimacy. Exactly. And all of it is interrelated. Sex is not separate from your life. It's an intricate part of everything, no matter how you choose to share it. Right. And it brings us right back to the very beginning where we started talking about this idea that humans are meant to be connected. So whether we're having really great conversations that fill us up with our friends, or we're having a handhold moment or a hug with our honey, whatever it is, whatever that is for you, just do what makes you feel good and do what makes you feel connected to another, because we were not born to be isolated. We were born to be community. And do it often. Do it often. Do it every day. We have some homework for all of us today from Diane, and it involves one of our favorite foods here at Shepherd's Coffee Talk, which is chocolate. And this is Sea Salt Green and Black's organic milk chocolate. And what's the homework, Diane? The homework is, well, dark chocolate or milk chocolate. I mean, I know dark chocolate has some specific antioxidants, but we have milk chocolate here today, which is really good. The homework is actually, part of my teachings is actually sensuality and being really present in the moment with our food, right? And nothing like having chocolate just simply melt in your mouth and just allowing yourself to just let it burst in your mouth, just slowly, just allowing it to just do its thing.
Oh, that's going to be, that's a tough one for me.
Instead of just chowing it down, allow it to just melt on your mouth and a little piece, and just let it just savor it and be in that moment of savoring. Do you think you can handle the homework here? Have a piece of chocolate from here and enjoy. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Diane, for your wisdom. Such a pleasure. Hope to see you again. If you have questions for Diane, you want to know more about what she talks about, let us know, because we'll have her back if you're interested. Cheers. Cheers, everyone.